memory of Tamman that's going to stick in your mind for a long time?
I think there's so many you think about over the years, but like to me, some of those plays where, he chases down the basketball and just makes an elite effort play that nobody else is capable of making. Obviously now that, they've been coined by everybody as Tamman plays, I think those stand out the most to me because those are plays. I've been around this game for a long time and, given the majority of my life to it, and those are plays you never see anybody else make but him. And so those are the ones that are the most vivid, that stand out in my memory. There's so many great things that he does and so much pride that he plays with. But I enjoy those plays the most because they're ones that I know that I have never seen prior to Tamman and unfortunately might not ever see after.
What are the emotions for you as a head coach on senior night?
Yeah, you have so much appreciation and gratitude and thankfulness for guys in our program and what they've given and laid it on the line every single day. And so you want them to understand how amazing this opportunity is to have an unbelievable fan base that we do, and we know they're going to show up. It's going to be an unbelievable crowd environment and respect for those guys. So I think my main message to our guys has been, there's times during the year that you learn your lesson from things that don't go your way. But now, everything is permanent. It's the last chance to play in Hilton. After that, the next thing and the next thing. And my point of it is that I think what you learn when you've done this long enough is just how special that day is and how important that day is and how much pride and passion, enthusiasm you want to have on full display on that day. So for me, I have so much gratitude to all those guys, but I also want to be the leader that they need to make sure that they understand how special it really is.
Does that resonate with young people?
You hope so. I think from my vantage point, for whatever the future holds for anybody on our roster, whether it's professional or graduation or even if it's another school, I think the thing you learn and understand is there's no place like Hilton. There's no place the fans are going to love you this much ever again, wherever you play basketball after this, because we're really fortunate. And so to really take in that moment, take in that day, appreciate that day, because it is special and it's one that not just the seniors, but all of the guys, it will have an impact on them for the rest of their lives.
How much appreciation do you have for Tamman going back to when he committed to you guys and probably didn't have the body of work that you have at this point in your Iowa State run, and he was probably recruited more by the old staff than by your staff?
Yeah, I'd say specifically the unique part of Tamman's situation is that when we got here, we didn't have much to offer up to him other than the hope of a bright future. The work habits, the belief, the vision is what we had for him. And truthfully, where he was at on his journey, he was coming off an injury. He had been somebody that had been recruited more early in his career and wasn't quite sure who really wanted him, wasn't quite sure where his recruiting stood. And I think it was a perfect marriage because we knew right away that we really wanted him and we had a belief and a confidence in him. And I think based on where he was at on his journey at that point, he knew the value of somebody who really believed in him and wanted him because he had been through some ups and downs with recruiting where some had come and gone. And so I think it ended up being a perfect marriage of a guy who was at a point in his recruitment where he wanted to be at a place that really wanted him. And it was a coach and a coaching staff and a program that was really looking for somebody that could transcend the program on a daily basis and for the future moving forward. And there's nobody that's ever come into a program and left it in a better place than what Tamman Lipsey's done for Iowa State basketball.
What have you seen on the practice court from your team in response to the Arizona game?
Yeah, I felt like in the Arizona game, our guys played incredibly hard, physical, competed like crazy. Like there is no question on my end on how hard and physical we played. Certainly we'd like to finish more plays at the rim. Certainly we'd like to convert more plays on offensive rebounds. Absolutely, we'd like to shoot the ball with greater consistency. We'd like to have better ball movement. Many of those things that we've been working on. But in terms of this hasn't been hey, we didn't give it a good effort, now we need to learn our lesson. This is far more about us getting back to the practice habits, us getting back to playing for one another, us enjoying the opportunity we have to get better every day and having tremendous excitement and enthusiasm about what's in front of us and what's next.
You talked about recruiting Tamman. I know one of the first calls you made when you were hired as head coach was to him as a recruit. Where does that rank in terms of the most important phone calls you've ever made as a head coach?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously he means the world to me, and as much as he's accomplished and we appreciate everything he's done, as a young man and as a person, he means a lot more to me even than the wins and the experiences we've had on the court. And I know that's a lifelong bond. That's not something that comes and goes after a year of a commitment, 4 years of playing for someone. That's something that you're in this for the long haul together. So it'd be hard to have any recruiting call have a greater impact on me and our program than the first one that we made to him and then the ones we had following, to make sure that he knew how important he was to our program, the vision that we had, what we'd accomplished, but even more importantly, how proud of him for the man he is and the relationship we're going to have moving forward.
Everything he dealt with in high school with that injury and battling back from that, did that kind of lay the foundation for the man he's become today and how hard it is to get him off the court?
I think when you play basketball at this level, there's no such thing as 100%. There may not be a such thing as 80% when you get to this part in the year. And so as much as you don't want to endure injuries and adversity and have things that are ailing and holding you back from a pain standpoint or a physical standpoint, I think those experiences teach you and allow you to understand that there's a mental aspect you can dial into even more. We want to make sure everyone's healthy and safe and doing what's in their best interest, but there's also such a thing as grit and resolve and ability to fight through doing hard things, especially when you're hurt, sore, your body's beat up, you're returning from an injury, you just played heavy minutes, whatever that may be. And Tamman Lipsey has demonstrated the ability to do that exact task better than anybody in terms of, I know what's going on with my body, I know how to best treat it, and then I know how to go out and perform on the night of the game to the best of my ability and for my team and for my family and for my coaches and for everybody else to lay it on the line. And Tamman's certainly done that. And I think, to your point, the experiences he's had early on, you learn from those because they either make you tougher and they develop more grit, or you shut it down and you stop playing or you quit. And he's the opposite of any of those things.
When you think back to Tamman's freshman year, how much did he step into that role with, when he committed, it was really as a backup point guard, right? With Hunter, and then you guys had Jeremiah Williams. You guys, I imagine, didn't recruit him to be a day one starter.
No, and when we recruited him, again, what we saw is the work habits, the character, the desire to improve. Certainly his talents and speed and playmaking with the basketball and ability to guard the ball stood out. But when we recruited him, it wasn't, hey, you're going to start as a freshman from day one and we're going to put the ball in your hands. Because of the variables around the situation, that's what it ended up being. And even, that wasn't the case in the summer when we started our summer workouts. If you'd have asked me in June or July, I wouldn't have seen coming at that point what was to come when we started the season, which was he was going to be our 30-plus minute a game starting point guard and have the freshman season he was going to have. So I think that's a testament to his work habits and his continuing to build and grow. And then I also feel like if I were looking at a young Tamman Lipsey and trying to advise him on what type of program you'd want to go to that really values what you do and who you are, I would say at Iowa State there couldn't be a better fit in terms of coaches and a program that really appreciate, value, and look for what he does. So when he was a freshman, we had all the confidence in the world to be able to put him in that spot because of everything that he does on every single possession. And look, when you're able to do that, guys, again, just like the injury thing, you learn through experience. It wasn't all, fairy tales and unicorns and rainbows. There were some tough times. There was a loss at Texas Tech. There was a challenging game against Pitt in the NCAA tournament. There were some moments that were really, really hard, but I think that's what you want if you're a competitor. You want You want the hard things, you want the challenges, you want the adversity, because that brings out your very best. And I think there's not a young person, a competitor, an athlete that has demonstrated their ability to be at their best in the face of adversity to the extent that Tamman Lipsey's demonstrated.
Joshua, Nate, I mean, senior day for them too. How would you want them to kind of pour into that moment, like you said, but also recognize, like you said, that so much is still in front of them?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, when you give multiple years to a program, and we've had a good record at home over the last 2 years. Certainly like to win every single one, but we've done fairly well. I think when it comes down to that last opportunity, things really hit home. And I could tell in practice today with Joshua the urgency, and with Nate the urgency and how important it is. I think, many times it sneaks up on you. You don't realize how quickly it all goes, and now all of a sudden here it is. And I think those guys have meant a tremendous amount to our program. Can't have more gratitude and thankfulness for what they do every single day. They're both warriors. They're everyday guys. Joshua every single day lays his body on the line for us. Nate's an elite competitor, and so those guys have, they've earned the respect of our fan base, of their teammates, their coaches, those that have come before, and they've worn that jersey with tremendous pride, and we're really proud of them.
How have you seen those two specifically just make this place their home and just embracing being part of the community over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think they both knew coming in what they were signing up for. Unlike Tamman, those guys had 3 years to be able to watch what we were building and how our program was continuing to grow before they came in, and so they knew what it needed to look like. We educated them on the front end of what it would look like on a daily basis. A lot of times for us, recruiting is about telling guys, if you're not tough enough and you don't have the work habits, don't come here. It's not a rosy picture, it's not, that sort of thing. So those guys are about the work, they're about the development, and I think it says a lot about them, how they've worked and represented us every single day.
And at this point of the year, what is the key to getting your team to reach another gear this late into the season?
Well, I think it's, the things that happen on the practice court and the things that happen in the game. And so, for us, the identity, I think if anybody, you want to watch the game or look at the numbers, if you said, what does Iowa State men's basketball team need to do to reach another level? You'd say, dictate with their defense, create turnovers, specifically live ball turnovers, score off their defense. You'd say, on the glass, win the rebounding battle. If you want to keep getting better, win the rebounding battle and win it by a greater margin, because right now it's been proven. Every time we win, if we win the rebounding battle, we win the game. So to me, that makes sense that you take tremendous pride winning that. And then I think on the offensive side, there's a lot of pieces that go into half-court offense, but it's tough with the basketball. It's screen when it's necessary. It's reverse the ball. It's play for each other. It's shoot the ball with confidence, finish at the rim with confidence, go to the foul line with confidence. So I think all of those things go into playing well. I don't think there's not a magic drill or there's not some motivational speech. It's about doing the hard things and doing them with an unbreakable spirit and a will, because your urgency is so high, because, for all this right now, there is no tomorrow. There's no next time to play in Hilton. And so you got to take advantage of the one you have.
Thanks, everyone.